Hello, very good morning. Welcome to the Mega News at 6 on MBN TV. We're coming to you live from the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate, Nungwa at Dogono. We first take a look at the headlines.
GAWA strike disrupts exams at US and other public universities. In business, fuel tanker drivers begin 3-day sit-down strike over burst yard conditions. And on the international front, Morocco detains dozens of migrants trying to cross into Ceuta.
We'll bring you details of the story from the local Bronx News business and international news right after this break. My name is El Samuels. The news is also live across our social media handle on MBN 360. The ongoing strike by the Ghana Association of University Administrators has sparked a very call online, and the government is calling them. GTech is asking them to go back to the classrooms, disrupting academic works.
GAWA says the disruptions stem from its industrial action over what it describes as widening disparities in market premium and related allowances between teaching senior members and non-teaching senior members. Speaking in an interview on August 16, GAWA General Secretary Charles Adu said some universities scheduled to begin examinations this week could face further disruptions. Charles Adu also raised concerns about the procedures being followed by some institutions in conducting examinations during the strike. He said the information available to GAWA suggests that some of these processes have been sidelined, raising concerns about the integrity of examinations being conducted. GAWA's strike has disrupted some academic activities in public universities as the association continues to push for a review of what it considers unfair disparities in allowances between teaching and non-teaching senior members. The association's concerns could further affect the academic calendar if the dispute remains unresolved.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTech, has directed all senior management officials of the public universities who have joined the ongoing industrial action by the Ghana Association of University Teachers, Administrators, the Technical Senior Administrators Association of Ghana, to return to work immediately.
According to GTech, senior management officials occupy executive, managerial, and policy-making positions that entail responsibilities to their institutions and may restrict their participation in industrial action under the Labour Act 2003, Act 651. According to GTech, the involvement of senior management officials in the strike could create a conflict of interest, particularly where they are required to represent their institutions in engagements with trade unions and ensure the continuity of essential university operations. The Commission further warned public universities against allowing the strike to disrupt essential institutional and student services. These include end-of-semester examinations, auditing, internet and telecommunication services, student portals and registration systems, healthcare, cleaning and janitorial services, finance, salary processing, and other essential payments. It cautioned that any unlawful disruption of essential services could constitute a breach of the Labour Act and other relevant laws. Meanwhile, the ongoing GAWA strike is already affecting academic activities at some public universities, with the University of Health and Allied Sciences and other institutions reportedly suspending scheduled examinations. GTech has urged members of GAWA and TUSAC to exercise restraint and ensure that their industrial action remains within the confines of the law.
Now to some developmental news where hundreds of residents from Domi Kwabenya, Komet, Brekusu, Jumenti and also KTLC have taken to the streets in a peaceful demonstration to demand immediate rehabilitation and completion of the Domi Kwabenya, Brekusu, KTLC road.
The demonstration, organized by the Domi Kwabenya Kitasi Road Stakeholders Committee, is aimed at drawing attention to the deteriorating condition of the road and the difficulties it continues to create for residents, commuters, transport operators, and businesses in the area. Speaking in an interview, the demonstrators said they had exhausted all available channels of engagement with the authorities and were left with no option but to take the streets to press for action. This road is a huge problem for us. It makes our movements very difficult and disruptive. We are pleading with the government to work on our roads for us, one of the demonstrators said. This is a peaceful demonstration for our roads to be fixed. The road has not been fixed in 20 years. We need our roads to be fixed. Residents also raised concerns about the health implications of the poor road conditions, particularly the dust generated by passing vehicles. The protesters are calling on the government and relevant authorities to prioritize the rehabilitation and completion of the road to ease transportation challenges and improve living and business conditions in the affected communities.
And as it for the major bulletin on the local front, we turn our attention to the business desk when members of the Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union have declared a 3-day sit-down strike to protest what they describe as the deteriorating conditions of the yard where they park their trucks.
The drivers have accused officials of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Board of failing to rehabilitate the yard near the Kumasi depot, raising concerns about their safety and the worsening condition of the facility, particularly during periods of rainfall. The drivers have also complained of persistent shortages whenever they offload fuel at the depot. They attributed the problem to faults in the machinery and equipment used to offload petroleum products from tankers at the Bost depot. According to the union's leadership, repeated engagement with Bost officials to have the concerns addressed have so far failed to yield the desired results. The industrial action has raised concerns about possible disruptions to fuel transportation, with fears that a prolonged strike could affect fuel supplies and potentially trigger shortages across the country if urgent interventions are not made. Chairman of the Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union, Dominic Brenya, insists the drivers will only call up the strike when the concerns are addressed.
From the business desk, we turn our attention to the foreign front where Morocco authorities have intercepted dozens of migrants seeking to cross into Spain, North African enclave of the Ceuta, a report says.
More than 100 people were blocked trying to make their way to the border on the outskirts of the town of Fendek, according to Moroccan security sources cited by Spanish media and news agency Reuters. It comes a fortnight after roughly 78,000 migrants arrived in the enclave by sea in a matter of hours, hundreds of whom died, according to the city's mayor, who also said the vast majority of arrivals had returned to Morocco. Security had been stepped up in the area after the influx and amid suggestions on social media of a second mass crossing attempt this weekend. The security sources said 111 people had been detained in or around Fendek, known in Spanish as Castillejoz, about 3 kilometers from the border, the majority of whom were sub-Saharan Africa. Moroccan police, including some in riot gear, reportedly used tear gas to disperse groups of migrants gathered on nearby hills. Earlier this week, Morocco's government said it was monitoring the circulation of social media posts and messages of unknown origin calling for a mass crossing on Saturday and warned that it would prosecute organizers and participants. Security at the breakwater entrance was 10 times stronger than the previous day. Spanish newspaper El País reported. Morocco had dispatched army officers, navy speedboats and drones to the border on Saturday, it said. Meanwhile, Madrid deployed more than 1,500 security officers to patrol the area. Spain has also installed a metal fence and a floating barrier following last month's influx. The crisis has calmed since breaking out in late July, but has sparked tensions between EU nations that share open borders as well as criticism of the Spanish government. Italy suspended the 29-member Schengen arrangement of free movement with Spain and introduced border checks on arrivals from Spain. Italy was backed by Finland and Denmark, while the Czech Republic called for Spain's membership to be temporarily suspended. Spain reacted angrily, with Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez noting Ceuta was not part of the Schengen area and the migrants therefore had not arrived on the Spanish mainland and could not travel to any other European country. It urged Italy to drop its border controls and introduced its own when Rome refused, citing the possibility of a new influx on 15 August. On Saturday, Italy's Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani said his country had been afraid of a risk of a new wave of arrival in Ceuta. "We are not waging any kind of battle against Spain. We are simply carefully controlling arrivals," he said. "Instead of worrying about us, Spain should worry about Morocco. That's where the problems are coming from, certainly not from our controls."
And that does it for this morning's Mega News at 6 with the migrant stories. But before we take leave of you, let's take a second look at the stories making headlines.
Gahua strike disrupts exams at US and other public universities. In business, fuel tanker drivers begin 3-day sit-down strike over bust yard conditions. And on the international front, Morocco detains dozens of migrants trying to cross into Ceuta.
Thanks for staying with us. For more news, log on to MBN 360. Up next is a sports update. My name is El Samuels. Do have a good morning.